Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 3 of the podcast, The Story Behind the Photograph. Today we're going to be talking about this photograph here you see behind me, or if you're listening, this is a panoramic shot of the Milky Way that I took up in Bear Lake back in 2013. And I wanted to talk about this photograph because it actually took first place in the Utah State Fair that year when I entered it in the panoramic division or category, whatever you want to call it. So I kind of wanted to talk about it. I wouldn't say it's my favorite photo. In fact, I kind of actually hate it. I hate the processing on it. One day I may go back and redo it, but probably not. And probably the reason, I don't know if I'd say I hate it, but one of the reasons I don't like the photo is, and I'm actually really surprised that it took first place in the state fair, is because when I printed it, it was really dark. When I edited the photo, I was using my laptop, and I just cranked the screen brightness because it looked good. You know, you crank the screen brightness up, and it looks great and bright and vibrant and everything. I didn't understand printing on on paper or anything like that, and how that affected what you see on the screen. I just figured, oh, it's good on here, print it, it's fine. So it actually turned out really dark, and so I kind of don't like the photo that I printed. I wish I would have edited it a little bit differently, but I didn't learn about how to edit really until much later on. So anyway, so kind of going back to the whole behind the story about this photograph. So Bear Lake is one of my favorite places to go. My parents have a place up there, and we go up there every summer, multiple times, usually 2 or 3, 4 times a summer, and we go spend weekends up there, and we go out to the lake, or we go swimming, or off-roading, four-wheeling, stuff like that. So it's just a fun place to go. It's actually the place where I fell in love with the night sky. I was probably 11 or 12 years old. I want to say, I don't think it was for, I think I was a Boy Scout, so I was probably 11 years old, because I wasn't in the Boy Scouts, I was in 11-year-old Scouts, or whatever they call them. And we went on a camp out up at Bear Lake. It was like a whole weekend thing. So, and we camped on the beach, and I want to say it was in August. I think it was during the Perseid meteor shower, because I remember laying on the beach with my friends, my brothers, and I think my dad was even there, and that. But I remember laying on the beach and falling asleep to counting shooting stars, and it was just, to me, it was just one of those memories that I could still vividly remember laying on the sandy beach, hearing the waves crashing, and looking up and just seeing shooting stars. And so Bear Lake is one of my absolute favorite places to go see the Milky Way, to go see the stars. It's just so cool to go out there. So for this photo, we were up there for, I don't know, it was July or late June or something. Probably 4th of July, I think, is when we were up there. The whole family was there. And I just got my camera. I was into night photography. I'd done the Dancing with the Stars pictures that I talked about in episode 2. I did those just a few weeks before. And so I was really into night photography, and that's kind of one of the big things that I wanted to do with this DSLR camera that I bought. So I got into, I was trying to get other people to go out with me, because I didn't want to go out in the middle of the night by myself photographing the Milky Way. So the first night I went by myself, and I think the moon was up until, I don't know, 12:30, 1 o'clock or something like that. So the night before, I went out by myself, and I sat in my car, and I shot a time lapse just down some dirt road or something up there in Bear Lake. And I shot a time lapse. It was terrible. I bumped the camera fogged up. I didn't know anything about how to shoot time lapses. It was just pretty bad. And then once the moon went down, I went and photographed there was some fence some old wooden fence and some corral and an old road and stuff. So I kind of just explored around in Bear Lake in a place called Round Valley. And so I just went and photographed around there for a little bit. And I had a kind of a run-in with a wild animal, or a cow. It was probably a cow, but I was I was photographing along this fence, and I was just spooked. I was just scared. I was scared of everything at night, and so I had taken a picture, and then I turned around and shined my flashlight all over everywhere, making sure nothing was going to come up behind me, wolves or coyotes or whatever else. So anyway, so my flashlight, my big mag light, those big ones that are like 12 inches long, caught the eyes of an animal. It was, like I said, it was probably a cow, maybe a skunk or a raccoon or something. I don't know. It was eyes. Anyway, so that kind of freaked me out. I was in the middle of taking a shot. As soon as that shot was done, I grabbed my tripod and ran back to the car. And I said, tomorrow night when I go out, I am bringing somebody with me. So the next night, so I go back to our place, to our cabin, and go to sleep. The next night, I convinced my sister-in-law, which she also had just gotten a camera, so I was like, yeah, I'll come show you how to take photos of the Milky Way. And then a couple of my nephews were like, yeah, we want to come out and stay up late and see the stars and stuff. They just didn't want to go to bed. So we found earlier in that day we'd gone on a little trek in our trucks and four-wheelers and stuff, and we came across, there's an old sawmill or something in this town, Round Valley, I think is what it's called. We just came across this old sawmill, so it wasn't too far from where our place was we were staying. So we decided, hey, let's go back and shoot here. And so I was like, yeah, this will be great. The cousins can hold the flashlights and we can light paint and do that kind of thing. So we went out and we photographed at this old sawmill. And I wanted to try a Milky Way panel. I hadn't really ever done a Milky Way panel, and so I thought, hey, let's try it out. So I've got my, I got my tripod set up, and I thought, well, from what I have read and seen, you just take a bunch of photos and you overlap, and you're good to go. You stitch it in Photoshop and call it a day. Back at that time, Lightroom didn't have the panel stitch, so it was all done in Lightroom. So I shot the pano and got it to my computer. I think I want to say I put it in my computer that night and stayed up way too late or something, or I put it on the computer and tried stitching it. I don't know if it was that night or the next day or something, but it ended up taking 10 hours for my laptop, because it was, 9 or 10 photos for my laptop to stitch this in Photoshop. Now, granted, this is a Nikon D5100 that's not high resolution. It was like 14 megapixels. So we're looking at, 14 times 8 or 10, maybe 120, 140 megapixels, which is pretty high resolution, but I figured it should be able to stitch this. No, it took like 10 hours to stitch this photo, and my computer was just like burning. It was cooking up. I didn't have a very fast computer at the time. I think it had like 2 gig of RAM, or maybe 4 if I was lucky, and no solid state drive or anything like that. So that's a whole nother topic, getting into computers that that can handle high resolution or panel stitching, things like that. So anyways, it took forever to stitch this. I edited it, and I was like, oh, this is great. And then I wanted to learn new processing methods for editing Milky Way, just to see what the pros are doing, or the people that have done Milky Way. So I remember looking up some YouTube video on how to sharpen for the Milky Way. So I ran it through this process of how I sharpen, and I think I probably overdid it a little bit, and that's probably one of the reasons why I don't like this photo as much as it. I mean, I did win a blue ribbon for it, so that's cool and everything, but yeah, it's just one of those things that I wish I had not overcooked it so much, but it is what it is, and that's kind of what went into the making of this photo. And I was surprised as the guy that I beat out for second place, which I thought he had a pretty cool photo. But hey, I took a blue ribbon at the state fair, and proud to say that. Though I'm not necessarily proud of this photo, that's kind of the story behind it. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, comments, whatever, feel free to like, subscribe, comment. Don't forget to give me a rating wherever you're listening to this on, or thumbs up, or whatever. I don't know how these podcast things work still. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of The Story Behind the Photo. Till next time, bye.